Qibla Shaykh al-Islam presented his dream for the next decade, a dream of peace, a dream of a world where there will be freedom, human rights will be honored, and where people will be able to live together. However, dreams need to be realized. Dreams need to be turned into realities, and that requires setting goals and targets. And what follows is really, again, a wonderful illustration of the thinking and the strategic leadership of Shaykh al-Islam, that he doesn't just have a dream. In fact, he has a strategy. And in order to outline that strategy, it's been formulated into what is known as the Declaration of Peace. And I'm going to ask Sister Khadija Atkinson. Before that, I'm going to ask Shaykh al-Islam to do the Fatiha Sharif, to get the barakah and to give that dua.
Assalamu alaikum. We will read all of us Surah Al-Fatiha for the blessings before declaration is read, so that Almighty Allah blesses us with success in our objectives. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد صلاة وسلاما تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات، وتقضي لنا بها من جميع الحاجات، وتطهرنا بها من جميع الذنوب والأمراض والفتن والشرور والآفات والبليات والسيئات، وترفعنا بها عندك على الدرجات، وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وفي الممات وبعد الممات. إنك سريع سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. إنك على كل شيء قدير وبالإجابة جدير. بحق لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. The declaration.
His Eminence Shaykh al-Islam Dr. Tahir Qadri, honorable scholars, eminent guests, brothers and sisters in Islam, brothers and sisters in humanity, peace be with you all. I'm honored to present the London Declaration for Global Peace and Resistance Against Extremism 2011 on behalf of Shaykh al-Islam Dr. Muhammad Tahir Qadri. This declaration is being announced at the Peace for Humanity Conference organized by Minhaj al-Quran International and held under the auspices of Shaykh al-Islam Dr. Muhammad Tahir Qadri at the Wembley Arena in London on the 24th of September 2011, and endorsed by the great Sheikh al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Muhammad al-Tayyib, the World Association of Al-Azhar graduates and religious representatives of all faiths, scholars, politicians, and more than 11,000 participants from all around the world. Recent decades have seen the world's great faith and cultural communities torn apart by misunderstandings and mistrust to such an unfortunate degree that people of good intentions towards each other are now compelled to declare their unequivocal rejection of the beliefs and activities that divide them, and their unreserved embrace of the beliefs and activities that unite them. We affirm that all humans everywhere possess inherent dignity and immutable rights, these including the freedom from poverty, oppression, fear, and prejudice, and freedom of belief, worship, and expression. This declaration is being launched by Muslims for the Muslims of the world and for the rest of humanity. We send a message of peace and fraternity to all humanity's innumerable states, nations, communities, and individuals, along with a call for respect, dignity, compassion, equality, solidarity, and justice for and between all people. We address our call for peace, tolerance, and respect to people everywhere, but especially to the political and religious leaders and decision makers, as well as to the scholars and teachers and the journalists. While we recognize the unique difference between faiths and cultures and communities, and we recognize that all people gain happiness and identity from what they consider to be unique, we declare that all humans everywhere possess immutable rights and values that transcend all political boundaries and philosophies and are inherent and important in all religions, faiths, and creeds. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, and those of other religions, along, of course, with other people who do not identify with any faith, must enjoy the same civil and legal rights and freedoms and be able to live in peace and harmony, and must pursue peace only through mutually respectful engagement and dialogue. We reject unequivocally all terrorism, because at the heart of all religions is a belief in the sanctity of the lives of the innocent. The indiscriminate nature of terrorism, which has in recent years killed far more civilians and other non-combatants than it has combatants. It's un-Islamic, un-Judaic, un-Christian, and it is indeed incompatible with true teachings of all faiths. Because of its manifestly indiscriminate and therefore murderous nature, we condemn all terrorism in all forms and in all countries, regardless of any claimed religious and political intentions. We unequivocally reject, disown, and condemn all terrorism committed in the name of Islam. Just as we reject and condemn all terrorism committed in the names of other religious or causes. Terrorism is never a legitimate and honourable act of war, but it is always a cowardly act of indiscriminate murder. We reject as mistaken and spurious any assertions made by both Muslims and non-Muslims that the world is currently locked in a relentless struggle between Islam and the West. And we commit ourselves through positive and mutually respectful engagement and dialogue to oppose any and all claims of clashes of civilization or incompatibility of values in various regions, states, and communities. We support efforts by international agencies, governments, and communities to protect the world's citizens from terrorism. We commit ourselves to assisting in the de-radicalization of those groups and individuals who might mistakenly believe that their religion tolerates indiscriminate and wanton violence. Whereas we do not overlook the real or perceived grievances that may serve as a causative fuel for terrorist violence. And we call upon all national and local governments to address those grievances with haste and to resolve. We commit ourselves to the non-violent resolution of those issues, as well as to the removal through education, dialogue of conspiracy theories that seem to blinker some people's worldviews. We welcome the wave of popular and generally peaceful uprisings against tyranny and oppression known as the Arab Spring. And we recognize that this is a rights-based, not a religious-based movement, which is compatible with the universal human rights and aspirations mentioned above. We call on all international agencies and governments to support with clarity and resolve the liberty-motivated Arabs, Berbers, and other Muslims. And we call upon them to do so in a non-martial, impartial, transparent, and well-communicated manner that will enhance trust, establish bonds of goodwill. We believe that too long-running conflict between Israel and Palestine needs to be resolved urgently and with scrupulous fairness. We affirm the necessity urgently to resolve this conflict so as to provide the Palestinians with a sovereign, pluralistic, and representative state, and the Israelis with national and local security. If it is to be permanent and durable, the peace agreement between Israel and Palestine must be fully and actively supported and protected in a non-partisan fashion by the international community, and its terms must be equally beneficial to the citizens of both states who have for so long feared and mistrusted one another. We call for the promotion of human rights, fundamental freedoms, equality between men and women, and a cardinal view of humanity such as reconciliation, forgiveness, generosity, and solidarity. We declare that there is no difference between an Arab and a Jew, between a Muslim and a Christian, between a Hindu and a Sikh, between a black person and a white person. Or between a man and a woman. All humans are equal and must be treated with equal respect, dignity, compassion, equality, solidarity, and justice. We unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism, including when sometimes it is disingenuously clothed as anti-Zionism. Islamophobia, including when it is sometimes disingenuously dressed up as patriotism, and all other forms of racism and xenophobia. We call on all Muslims and other minorities living in the West to respect all the laws of this country in which they are living in, whether they possess the status of citizen or resident. We call on all the Muslims, the governments, and the elites of the West to promote integration and citizenship. The only solution for peaceful coexistence is cohesion. We call on all governments to protect minorities against all hatred, intimidation and violence, especially from ultranationalism or religious intolerance. We call for increasing aid in Africa and other impoverished regions and nations of the world in order to improve their living condition, provide socio-economic and political stability, and realise the objectives of true democracy. We call on the financial powers to introduce more humanity in their economic considerations. After both world wars, the stability of the European state is crucial for the world. We call on the world governments to increase efforts for the alleviation of poverty, to combat illiteracy, proliferation of weapons, and threats to our natural environment. 11,000 participants at the Peace for Humanity conference support this London Declaration for global peace and resistance against extremism. Finally, we call upon people everywhere to express their agreement with our beliefs and expectations and aspirations by adding their own signatures to this great declaration. Thank you very much.